Okay, hey, welcome to day 3. Today's idea is camera visualization in augmented reality. Now, I really love this one, but I do understand that not everybody has experience with cameras, especially in like a commercial setting. So for those of you that have dealt with it, like maybe in your house, maybe you've reinstalled cameras, or if you put in a video doorbell, a lot of this does apply, and I think you'll understand a little bit of it. But for the rest of you, hopefully I'll make it interesting enough that you'll love it regardless. And definitely, hopefully you come up with some ideas. So let's jump into it. So I'll give you a little bit of the background. When you go through a process of trying to get a new CCTV installation, let's say in a big property, right? Let's say you're getting tens or dozens of cameras installed. So you would normally go and get quotes from a variety of companies, and they would all compete with each other and try to give you the best kind of cameras and the most robust and have all these cool features and try to sell you on that, and hopefully they score it in. Now, usually the process works with you give them a 2D site plan, kind of like a very simple map of your property, and then they'll come for like a walkthrough. They get like a tour of the place where you'll hopefully explain what your objectives are and walk them through the property so they can get a bit of an understanding of the property in the real world. There's only so much that you can convey with a site map, and we'll obviously see that this is the big problem still that is not solved in these type of conditions. Then when you walk them through, then they'll take the site plan back, then they'll give you back a proposal. We think you should put X amount of cameras and you should put them over here, and these are the specs and these are how big they are, and hopefully you arrive at some sort of conclusion. Now, what I've found is these processes take a long time, because at the end of the day, I don't really care about all these cool specs. I mean, yeah, I would love my camera to be able to shoot in 8K raw footage and shoot high quality at night. I recently saw a documentary where they weren't shooting with infrared. They were shooting this new technology, but where you could see at night as if it was during the day, right? So you would see it in color. It wouldn't just be like this black and white that we're all used to in infrared. Like, I want all that, right? I want to be able to see the most with the least amount of cameras and the cool high tech and detect everything. I want all those things. But at the end of the day, I need to make sure that the most vulnerable places, the easiest targets are all dealt with. And I might have a variety of reasons why I'm putting there, and I need to ensure that they're all being dealt with. One of the big things that I care about, not all this numbers and jargon, the big thing I care about is what are my cameras actually going to see? Now, this is something that they try to convey to you with words, but usually you only see this once everything is done and dusted, the cables are, all laid out, everything's hooked up, and your app goes live, and now you're able to see where things are, and then this is where your tweaks come in. But there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of processes that go on to get to that point, and there's a lot of things that get missed that if we could solve them much earlier would make these things, first of all, the whole process would be a lot more enjoyable, a lot more fun, and you could do a lot more of it yourself. Now, yes, when it comes to security, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not to have a security company and do everything yourself. What I'm saying is a lot of this process, you don't need an expert, right? Let the experts do the things that require expert knowledge, and let the things like, is it tilting in the right place? Is it getting all the field of view? Is it getting everything that I need in over there, the height, things like that? So what are some things that a site plan can't show you? When I mark an X, right? When I take the guy through a walkthrough and he's marking down on the site map that I provided him, the paper version, he's putting down X's and writing down little figures of what he needs to remember to put in cameras, and then he'll give you like a diagram with like icons of like, this is a camera, this is a fish lens camera, and this is a dome camera, this is a bullet, and this is this amount of degrees field of view, and this is this the resolution. I'm trying not to get bogged down into little details so I can just convey the idea. But really, okay, so how can we do this, right? What is the cooler process? Now, one way that I would just quickly answer is just like treat a camera like a torch. Just imagine that. Okay, what does this mean? When you walk through a place, there are a piece of information that he's picking up. But imagine if instead of you explaining something and you trying to visualize, oh, maybe I want it there because I want it to angle here and look over there and hopefully he understands it. What if I could like pick out of his virtual selection of cameras, all his different models, I pick one, maybe he suggests one, and I actually physically put it in the real world. This is augmented reality, right? We're not dealing with flat pieces of tablets that don't care about the world. We're not dealing with paper and things like that. We're putting virtual models in the real world. These virtual models have all the information encoded in them, the field of view, the resolution, everything like that, and also the look, right? So imagine if I could place these things exactly where they need to go. I could push them up a little bit higher, turn them a little bit. And I can exactly see what they're seeing. I can pull up like a virtual, an augmented view of their field of view, of their, I can see exactly what that feed's gonna look like. Now, if I just want to see what it covers, imagine if that camera, or if that virtual camera now acted like a torch does at night. When you shine a torch at night, you can see exactly where this beam illuminates, where it does and where it doesn't, right? What goes into the shadows, what is shown. Let me do that with a camera. Let me be able to point with a camera and bathe everything that is in this camera's field of view in, let's say, blue. Just choose whatever color and see a virtual, like, you could think of it as a heat map, but think of like a pulsing cool lights, like, whatever. Let's make it can be really cool, but right now we have our imagination, so you go crazy with your imagination. But just see, every part that camera's gonna see is now bathed in light. I can very quickly, very easily see that, right? Put two cameras together, boom, I see now what two cameras are seeing. I'm seeing where they're overlapping. I'm seeing what exactly parts they're seeing. I could do slight tweaks, but I'm looking at what is happening on the ground. I could see that those beams of light, right, those beams of video feed, how they move, how they react. I could even change, I could run this simulation and change the time of day. I can see the shadows from the trees. I can see the obstructions, what's blocked. I can see that all through this beam of light, right? That's a huge thing, the obstructions of what is seen, of what's there in the ground. So walls, doors, corners, trees, things like that, poles. Those are all obstructions. I can't really see them from the ground. Hopefully that's something that the guy picks up. But later on, when we go back and deal with a 2D floor plan, right? When we deal with a site map and we're dealing in the 2D world, we're not remembering that there was a bush over there that at that height, it won't see anything. What if we're now playing around with things that we never even discussed when he came out of here, right? We were discussing to have a camera over there, and now we want to move it 2 meters there and we want to put it 4 meters up in the air. That changes everything. But now he's going to have to come and visit me again in order to really make those changes. But over here, if we've got a proper model, and we're actually going to go through that in another video because that's a really cool, exciting, another idea. But all these tweaks you can now do by yourself, right? When you're walking through your property the next day, you don't need anyone. You don't need to be looking at a map and going, oh, what does this icon mean? And what is that icon camera model really going to be showing me? I could walk around and see that. I can tweak those different things and then show the person that I'm working with, the expert, these are my proposed changes. And he could look very quickly and go, okay, yeah, this is what you're seeing. That's fine. This is fine. Oh, we're raising the heights. Oh, now we got a branch. Okay, that's circled in. Now I can see exactly from that torch beam that branch is now in the way. Right now it's red or something. It's been bathed in red virtual light. Anyways, we could go a lot further with this, and this applies to a lot of things in a security project. Go with this as you will, right? This could go in so many places. And I want to quickly touch on something that's after you've installed it, right? Now that you've got the actual physical camera, imagine if you could walk around and instead of having like an app and pull up a list of things on like a completely different device. I have to remember to bring my iPad, and do they have even an app that works on it? Imagine if I could look at any camera, and again, maybe you have 3 cameras very close to each other. Imagine if you could see the last important interactions or motion events that has picked up. I could see maybe status, has it been recording correctly? I can see the last movement, the last motion that is picked up. Now, if I'm walking around at 10 o'clock at night and it picks up a motion 5 minutes ago, and I know that no one's supposed to be here, this is not something that's necessarily going to be alerted to me because I might not have set up those alerts. But this is something intuitively, I look at there and go, oh, okay, let's check that out. Anyways, I'm going to stop here now. This idea could go